My influences are very much film and paintings. I always went to museums, I always loved Matisse, Bonnard, Impressionist, Bruegel. I was playing movies at home, and when I first went to see the really great movies like Ingrid Bergman, the Seventh Seal, and movies like that, I was so excited about it, and I always knew that's the only thing I wanted to do. I mean, I never any doubts. I never want to do anything else than getting involved in photography and movie making. You know, I was very lucky. When I was 16, I knew. Often people tell me that many of pictures make them think about Hopper, which I feel connected to, which I like a lot, but I discovered Hopper quite a lot later than I was already working the same thing. It has to do with a certain loneliness in an urban environment, you know, which is probably quite a lot the case in my pictures as well. It can be a theatrical thing about it. I mean, it's like theater somehow. In the beginning, when I was shooting, I did quite a lot of theater. I photographed the Living Theatre, for example. I can somehow see my things like a stage. When I was starting to do fashion, I liked the idea of all the beautiful girls, which was fun. But I didn't like very much the milieu. The clothes, not very interested in it. And then when I started to travel, I started to be more interested in the place. I went to travel with the girls, and the whole atmosphere. So after a while, I dropped the girls and the fashion, and I just worked on the place. I did very simple pictures as well. I did an whole series of beaches. I mean, rivage, which are there's some human presence, but it's mainly the sky. It's mainly the soul. But in places like cities, and let's say Cairo, for example, which is so absolutely chaotic, I try to make order about chaos, where things happening. It's extremely difficult. The split second where all of a sudden everybody's in the right place and the composition makes sense, or things add to each other. You know, like things can happen different as well. Like, for example, you have a frame and you kind of like the different elements, and then you can wait for something to happen, where all of a sudden, wow, that's it. That's the wonderful feeling. For example, there's a picture I took in Morocco of. It was in a souk. There was a wonderful dirt wall. There was a goat standing there to the right and some woman sitting to the left. She was sitting, she was all veiled. And I went to sit in front of her a couple of meters away. She didn't want to show me her face. So she stood up, I have all thickness, and she turned around and had this incredible present, so I couldn't see her. I got this incredible present of a baby, which I didn't know he was there. So that's very exciting when things gradually build up, and all of a sudden, wow, it's nearly like an orgasm. It's a very physical pleasure. Wow, you know, everything is there. I love when things come together in a very magical way. I'm really looking for that kind of elements when things really, and all of a sudden, woo, you know. In Belgium, there's always been a quite strong surrealistic influence. You know, there's think about Magritte and people like that, which to me is not the greatest painter, but I really like this kind of absurdity and the fun and you know, not to take himself too serious. And cultural influences are something strange, because although I feel very much European, but I'm somehow Flemish. And for example, all the seascapes I did. But at the same time, there's so many 17th century paintings of Dutch, Flemish, of seascapes. And maybe there is something who comes even deeper, an affinity of a certain culture, of a certain mentality, which comes from maybe centuries ago. Some people think it's kind of very Zen. Other people think it's very dramatic. It has to do as well with the changing light, which you have more on seashore, and the heavy skies, and how little we are in relation to those elements. I mean, there's photographs of some people, but they're extremely small, and we are very small. You have to be open and at the same time present. You don't have to be shy as well. I was a very shy person actually. In photography, it helped me to get over that. It's to be more direct, in the same time try physically not to exist so much. I try to be invisible. I don't have the aggressiveness, for example, which has a Bill Klein, which is really aggressive. And the power of often photographs are coming from this kind of, really very punchy, which is kind of American to me somehow, invasive. Reality is so complex, and to be objective, you say in French, I don't believe in it. I mean, things are too complex. I mean, there's so many different ways at looking at things, and if you put some good photographers together in the same place, they could come out with all complete different pictures, which is really interesting. There is no reality. No, it doesn't exist. Things are too complex. So it's your own vision about things which can tell you something about what you see, what happened, and something about yourself. My first visit to New York was in '68, and I discovered pop art, which made me look at a certain banality with interest. Not like a European saying, "Oh, this is bad taste, this is vulgar," but interest and with a certain sense of humor. So when I started to work in Belgium, because I wanted to get rid of this feeling of, I knew it was visually an interesting country and very little interesting things had been done in photography and film actually. Because I'd been working in India, in Morocco, in the States as well, where color is so important. In Belgium, to me, everything seems to be grey. I shot in black and white because I didn't see any color. So little by little, I started to, for a while, photograph black and white and color in the same time. And I found color become more interesting, and it was kind of the beauty of a certain banality, of a certain vulgarity, which really found exciting. Which I kind of, I think it became from my discovering pop art, the way the Americans used daily life, and then color became more interesting to me, so I dropped black and white altogether. It's a physical thing, color. I find black and white more abstract, more intellectual somehow. Roots is about Belgium. It's about my own roots. It's a second version of Made in Belgium, but better printed, because at the time I could make better prints, had more control, and I put in the black and white, which I didn't use in Made in Belgium. And kind of interesting to see going over what is similar in black and white and color and what is different. It's me and the culture. I'm excited about what I see. It's about pleasure. It's about liking things, about being excited. It's about no other intention than sheer joy of looking. And looking and understanding things better. When I frame, when I look at, but all of a sudden discover things which, if you have everything going on at the same time, it's too complex. I have the impression I start to understand something when I frame. I can work in very light situations because of digital. But it's very dangerous, well, to look places like Morocco where color is so overpowering, but it can be too much overpowering, it's too exotic. So you have to strain it down and concentrate. So I'm able now to work, to be excited in all kinds of different light situations, which in the beginning I was not able to. The two books which are coming out now, the road trip between LA and Las Vegas and the Moscow, it's strong not only because it's such a different society, but the colors I discovered in Moscow, which I've never seen before, very, very subdued, not at all powerful, very kind of, very different palette. It was like a painter who get all different colors all of a sudden, and it's really exciting. I have to deal with the colors which are there, I have to deal with the people which are there, the problems they're having. It was a very confusing period because they didn't know what to think anymore. Communist was dying and going into something else. It was, but very exciting as a photographer. Actually, it was commissioned to go by about 10 different photographers to work in different places in Russia. And I went with Joseph Kudelka to Moscow. So it was this wonderful period where things became completely open because it was Gorbachev, it was the end of the wall broke down like a couple of months later. And I got this very different palette, you know, like a palette of different colors to work with and different people and different situations. And, you know, it was really, really exciting. The big difference was because I made the book between 1989 and 2009. When it became capitalism, and then it was really different. It became really, the colors were different, much more aggressive, people much more bling bling. That difference was really, really interesting. It became capitalism, so advertising which arrived all over the place, which was hardly existed at the time. Consumer products all over the place. More artificial maybe, people being a bit more tense and maybe a bit more aggressive as well. Venice is kind of sexy, you know, kind of the bodybuildings, the beautiful girls, the all people proud about themselves. People showing off, vanity, which is hilarious, you know. So American, you know, for a European it's like fun. I mean, it was always as well this coastal feeling, you know, the edge. The seaside, which I always loved in very many different places. I found Vegas exciting for me, but in the same time, I didn't like the place at all. I mean, it was like living in hell somehow. So dramatic as well, so lonely, so, you know, everything related to the dollar, hoping to get rich, the vulgarity, but interesting elements to work with, you know. All those crazy colors, crazy mentality. And in the end, the contrast between capitalism and communism is fantastic. It's not the same year, but it's both in the 80s. The mentality, the shape, the colors, and everything is so different that both eliminate each other. Photography to me is very much like a dance. Your own body physically moves into a landscape, in an environment, and it's your eye, your body who moves in this environment, which trying to find the thing you really like and you're really excited about and which makes sense. You know, it's like, and that's really wonderful. I really miss when I don't take pictures for a time, is this. If I don't take pictures, I don't feel that good. I mean, I really need to take pictures. It's a way of living. It's a way of liking things. It's a way of living. It's a therapy as well. I spend too much time printing or working on books and things like that, and I don't go on the street and don't shoot. I miss it. I mean, I say, Jesus, I have to get out. I have to, even if the work is not necessarily that good. You know, it's relationship to life.